Hey guys, Hawk here. I'm just gonna be working on this random piece that I made of a elf with an afro. Just wanted to do this. It's gonna be a Hawk talks about. Y'all know what I'm talking about, don't you? Yeah. Basically, I just kind of ramble, unscripted, about random stuff, usually art related. And yeah, if you have any suggestions, I will definitely be sure to keep it in mind. Today I'm just gonna kind of be rambling about the stuff I and other artists have been told when taking commissions. And oh boy, this stuff is delightful. Just delightful. I'm being sarcastic. One of the things I've heard many times before, it always makes me laugh my ass off whenever I hear it. YouTube, please don't get mad. I don't even monetize my videos. Don't get mad at this. But something I find funny, when people find out that I take commissions, here's something that I tend to get a lot. Well, you you have fun while you do your art. You have fun, and because you have fun while you do your art, you shouldn't get paid. And first off, who's saying I'm having fun while I do my art? Do you know how much time, work, effort, blood, sweat, tears, depending on what you're doing, maybe quite literally, although that would be kind of gross, um, go into that art piece? Yeah, it's not always gonna be fun. There's gonna be frustrations, first off, buddy. And two, what you're saying is that anybody who's ever enjoyed their job shouldn't get paid. So a doctor who enjoys their job, that kind of somewhat has fun because they think helping people is a good thing and they find joy out of doing that. You're saying they shouldn't get paid because they've had a positive, maybe at sometimes fun experience with their job? Because when you say that to me, you're basically telling me, hey, if you've ever had fun at your work, you should never get paid. It's just something that shouldn't happen. Which is, no offense to me, I find it kind of stupid. Being honest, like, I usually tell them something along the lines of, uh, really? Or, I'll be sure to tell your boss that. I mean, don't lie to me. Everybody's had some form of fun at their job, most likely at some point in their life, or one of the jobs they've worked at. And by that logic, you yourself should not get paid because you've had fun while doing your job. It's just something really stupid that I hear, and it's just kind of makes me laugh a little. Something else I've also heard or people have done to me when they find out, oh, you'd have to pay for art. This happened to me once, actually. Not gonna name names, but if you don't try to witch hunt or harass this person, I don't know them online. I know them in real life. Person, if you know if you think I'm talking about you, please, please rethink your actions. Just please, for your future's sake. Like, I don't want someone to get really pissed off at you or try to I just don't want anything to happen to you because of some ignorant comment or rude comment you make to somebody who is an artist. I really don't because I know some people who would not respond too nicely. But somebody wanted some art from me, which is no problemo. You know, that's no problem with me. All they have to do is this little simple thing called pegging me. And you see, whenever I tell them that when I told this person they wanted a semi-realistic unicorn picture, yeah, traditionally at that, and anything traditional is already going to be pretty expensive because traditional art is not cheap. And I told them, hey, if I did that, it would probably amount to around $60. Now, that might sound expensive to some people, but in all reality, it's super cheap for realism. even if my realism isn't at its best. And here's why, okay? With my realism, I at least take a week, okay? I want to make sure it's to my standard, that it is to my standard, and I want to make sure it is worth that money that you are paying. You get what you pay for. Um, and that's at least gonna take a week. I'm sorry, but it's gonna take a little while. I'm just saying, don't expect that stuff to come cheaply. Like, I'm serious. And also, I make less than the average McDonald's worker does in a day. I looked at the average pay and it's about $9 an hour. According to source, it's the first thing on Google. It may not be the most reliable source, but according to what I've researched, yeah, you get about $9 an hour. And considering I'm spending at least a week on this, and I'm putting a lot of work, I'm sure McDonald's, you have crappy customers. Sure, it can be a little bit of pain in the butt, but you don't really need any skill to work there. You really do not. You don't really need to know that much to work there. It's one of those jobs that you don't need to have any sort of talent or skill that you've worked up over the years. Not really. You don't really need that. Art kind of, in a way, I feel one kind of does, because I mean, art's one of those things that you just kind of have to work at for a while in order to get super super good. And you know, I just I'm making less than McDonald's worker does in a day, and this person's complaining, and it baffled me. And when I informed them on this, they got all pissy because you're a younger person, which is kind of funny because they're younger than me and they're saying this. You shouldn't be getting paid that much, and I'm like, I may or may not be getting less than minimum wage for what I'm working. Like, I'm serious. I'm most likely getting less than minimum wage. I'm getting less than a McDonald's person does in a day. And this person has the nerve to complain. And they know what goes into an art piece. I told them, they're like, oh yeah, I already knew that. Although, who knows, they might have been just saying that to cover up themselves because they know they got caught, but they started insulting me. And one thing that I always tell people whenever they insult me, I know it's not the most professional thing to say to anybody who insults you, but I almost always say this: now you're never gonna get my art. And here's why: because these people think that insulting me as if in some sort of intimidation tactic or something will somehow get them the art that they were asking for and got mad at because it wasn't free. They got like, seriously, no, don't expect to get art from an artist if you insult them. Art takes a while to make, and don't expect to get that stuff for free. That stuff takes a while. Lots of time, work, effort, money if it's traditional, or even digital sometimes, depending on what the person uses. I swear, like, guys gotta realize, art's one of those things. Not everybody can do it. Well, I mean, they could if they worked at it, but not everybody has the time, or they just don't want to do it, or they generally can't. Art's like music. People can try to replicate it, but they can never do exactly what the other person is doing. It's a one of a kind thing, really. Um, just and people should appreciate that a bit more. My brother has given me an example, and I totally agree with it actually. When people refuse to pay for artwork or don't see the use in it. And here's what I and him always say, and it makes sense when you think about it. So, of course, not all people are gonna say yes. Saying that before anyone puts words in my mouth. But say someone wanted to mow your lawn. You'd pay them, most likely. And you'd probably pay them a fair amount of money, depending on how long they were working on said lawn. And you could still do it yourself. Anybody could, well, not everybody, but most people can mow a lawn. And you can still do it yourself, most likely, but you'd still pay for it. And you're telling me that you'd pay for something you yourself could do, but you wouldn't pay someone for something that only said person can do and you happen to be unable to do. Tell me where that makes sense, because that makes no sense whatsoever to me. You're telling me you'd pay someone for something you could do, but you wouldn't pay someone for something that was one of a kind and that you yourself couldn't do. Seems a bit ridiculous to me, don't you think? Oh, and this is going to be the last thing. It's gonna be a little tip to artists out there. Okay, if anybody says that they'll give you exposure for your artwork, do not accept it unless you know for a fact that they're from a big company and can ensure exposure. Because unless they are working with a huge company, for an example, Disney, Nintendo, Cartoon Network, they work for the show Steven Universe, something like that, unless they have proof of employment, and please do contact said employee because you don't want to be screwed over by somebody impersonating them. Unless they are that, they will not be able to ensure exposure whatsoever for your artwork. And some of you might be saying, well, that's not true. Kind of is, because unless you're really high up there and you're really well known, nobody's gonna really, no one's, you're not gonna get exposure. And also, if they claim they're gonna give exposure, make sure they credit you, not a, oh, we'll give credit if somebody asks. No, I mean, they full on credit you. They credit you as the artist. Because if they're not doing that, there's a problem. There's definitely a problem if they're not doing that. Just saying. Um, just make sure they are who they say they are. Make sure you get proper payments, first off. And make sure they credit you. Not a, oh, I'll give credit if somebody asks. A full on, in the description, they have a link to your page and they credit you as the artist. And don't let them fool you with the, I don't have time for that, because it's literally just copy pasting a link and just putting artist. Literally takes no time. So that's a tip for anybody taking commissions. And if anybody says, oh, I'll give you exposure, because often that's not really the case and they can't really guarantee it. And you just gotta be safe out there, whether you're an artist or somebody who buys art. Just be safe, be nice to the artist. I'm telling you, be very nice to the artist. They're the one making that art. You don't want them to screw you over. Obviously, if they screw you over, plain, but you know what I mean. Just don't be a dick. Be nice to them. Okay? Be respectful, be decent, be a decent person, be mature. It's not hard. Really isn't. Okay? Okay. It's just me talking about commissions, uh stuff like that, and what things people have said and just kind of my thoughts on it. So this is Hawk. I'm out.